in the name. Hey, welcome to a Sunday morning, October 10th, as we go into the SCC. It is going to be Europe, and it is the last SCC set of the regular season that we are going to be seeing these teams. Elysium and Just F6 are who we are watching today, but don't worry, after today they will have, I think, a week off, and then, of course, the circuit playoffs for Phase 2 will be kicking off. So this isn't the last of the SCC teams that you're going to see, and then winners from the NA version of that and the EU version of that will go to the SWC placements in December. And so you've still got at least some of these teams for another good 2 months or so, depending on how the SWC placement goes. Maybe even 3 if they can make it all the way to January. I've got Mifflin standing beside me. I'm Gormizer. I don't know if I actually said that part. And hey, man.
Hey.
It's Sunday.
It is, and I'm Mifflin.
And you're Mifflin.
And this is the SCC.
And it's October 10th.
You're right. 10/10/2021. You're right.
And you know what? If you add those together, the 10 and the 10, it almost equals 21. It does equal the 20 part. Yeah.
No.
Tomorrow's date, if you take the first part
10 and 10,
the second
it's
part,
just 20.
it'll equal the end.
So anyway, here's the schedule for the week, guys.
This is what we watched.
It is. It's what we're going to watch later today.
And what we, well, not even later today. Now, as it turns out, we're watching Just F6 take on Elysium. Just F6, for some reason in my brain, the notorious team that always takes us to 3, even though they are sitting down there at 2-7. Elysium at 8-1. And this is actually what's interesting. Elysium, if they lose this, I believe tie with Joystick. I think the head-to-head goes in favor of Elysium. The only other loss that Elysium have was to
Goodnight Nick.
Goodnight Nick. So that is going to be maybe not as big of a... They won't drop out of first, but it will still be equal and maybe showcase that they're fallible. Or they'll go 9-1 and they'll look like the Elysium we kind of expect.
But still fallible because they lost.
Yeah, well, they did.
Yeah, these guys do be fouling. It's fallible.
They're like Jimmy.
Who?
Jimmy Fallon?
Oh,
that was like, said they do be Fallon.
Well, that's pretty good, actually.
Hey, yeah, let's go. Let's go, dude. It's a good Sunday morning.
So early.
So we have to look at these teams and look at what they are going to be bringing. I actually don't know who we're talking about first here, but I know Elysium, which is the team that's right behind me, Adapting, Angry, Terram, Spudio, and Trickstank, one of the kind of premier teams here in Europe that have been providing a lot of entertainment, but also they're just hard to beat, dude.
Yeah, providing a lot of entertainment and a lot of losses to their enemies. Elysium is the squad and the hope of the European SEC, I'd argue, going into like Worlds playoffs. I mean, if anyone's going to do it from EU, I think it is going to be these guys. They have been looking that incredibly consistent. They've got that level of SPL talent. I mean, it's Adapting. He's literally the king.
They've got Trickstank and Adapting that were SBL talent, Angry, Terram, and Spudio, who all three. It's actually funny, a lot of the times where I highlight Adapting and Trickstank going into this set have been games where Adapting and Trickstank actually don't do that much, and it's Angry, Terram, and Spudio that are being able to show off. Terram has a great set of streaks in the solo lane, and I've really liked what I see out of Spudio and Angry very consistently for this team. It's just such a high-caliber team. I'm really curious to watch more in the future because we know they're going to the circuit playoff, how they're going to do there. And knowing that they're top 2, look, we've seen a lot of upsets, but if we assume that they can maintain that during the circuit playoffs, then how they could do in like the SWC placement rounds, depending on the SBL teams that they get up against, like that's going to be a really, really interesting matchup. They still have a long way to get there. Of course, right now, they have to focus on what's right in front of them. That's Just F6 on the other side. Again, a lot of players that have been around for a little while. Actually, I would give improvements since they picked up Masked Kill in the jungle as well, and they are, in my mind, notorious for doing incredibly well throughout the entire duration of the game, giving us something that's really competitive, and then unfortunately having one small slip-up, one mistake that happens maybe in the 20-25 minute mark, and then it feels like things just slip through their hands.
Man, I don't know if you're talking about Just F6 or the Solar Scarabs right there. That feels like there's a little bit of parity between these two teams, not only in the standings, but also in the play-on field. But I think you're right to highlight.
Well, hold on. Just F6 got 2 wins, though.
Wow. Wow, was not expecting the Scarabs to catch that level of a stray. Okay, Just F6. Can we like roll the clips? they look really good. Look, it generally is the early game laning phase where these guys are at their strongest, but those late game team fights have been a constant thorn inside of their sides. I mean, they've got a ton of potential. Every single one of these players has got high level of execution, high level of mechanical skill, just more so the actual teamwork and the macro play that needs to see some improvements. And when that happens, I expect them to go from 2-6 to much higher in the standings.
Half our conversations today have ended with you telling me I'm in a mood. And I think that's just continuing here, and it seems to be working. Yeah, they've just been doing, again, a team that I am happy to see when they find their success. I believe, and I'd have to double check this, but I know that they've pushed Elysium, I believe, to at least one 3-game set in the past. Which will probably be the last time they played. And so it will be with bated breath as to whether or not they can actually do that again today, and what kind of game we're going to be seeing. It's always weird when you get to this point because you're at the end of the phase, and for this, it is the last game of the phase. And on top of all that, neither of these teams can move up nor down in the standings. The most you can do if you're just F6 here is double the amount of losses that Elysium have had. And so you can shake things up in that regard, but it's always the opening door for, okay, how are you going to show up? Is Elysium going to lock in everything that we expect them to? Or are we going to see like what we saw yesterday where we had like 5 carries, something like that? Benny Q played Bracken mid. It was fun. It was a fun time. We'll see what we have here in picks and bans for game number 1. Elysium and Just F6. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I'm really curious.
We'll see with these first couple of picks. The bans generally do stay the same, even if you are going for a little bit of a goofier match, because again, this set does not have very many implications on the standings insofar as the European SCC. And so far, bans rolling through pretty quickly. Fenrir and Odin taken off the board by Elysium. On the other side, it's Artio and Tiamat. I think we might have a serious game here. It seems like we're keeping it head on our shoulders.
You just said the bans will typically be
the
same.
You're right.
You started your
right.
that entire thing you sandwiched with 2 polar opposite ideas. Hey, the bans, guess what?
They're not listening.
I am, though. And now you're getting caught out because of it. They also banned the Set and the Uller. And so it makes sense that most of the top bans. Set has been like on the rise as of late. Fenrir's the one that maybe catches me off guard just because as good as he is, nobody's been banning him or playing him as much, at least in the high level play. We have a first pick Loki, which admittedly seems like it should err on the, okay, Elysium are goofing around, but I don't actually know if they are. This seems like it could work for him.
Loki is just a good pick. He's legitimately very strong, has a lot of potential. I mean, we saw what Captain Twig was able to do on this god very recently. I believe it was 45,000 damage out of the jungle on this Loki pick. So we know it's good, but it's not generally something you take in that top pick position. Things like the Kepri comes to mind. Soul, a very contested pick as well. Loki, I think, probably was going to come over to Elysium's side at any point inside of this draft. They didn't need to rush it so soon.
It could have been first, it could have been 5th, and it probably was going to get there. Especially because when I think of adapting, I'm going to be 100% with you. Loki's not in the top 5 even of gods that I'm thinking of trying to ban away to control that. They also get the Geb, who has been the first pick for a lot of these supports. If he makes it through, there's been a lot of fighting over between him and Sylvanas. They get the Hell alongside that. This is a really good top 3 for Elysium.
Yeah, they've got a pretty staunch front line thanks to Geb. I mean, Aurora really showed me yesterday that Cataclysm does a lot of damage. Legitimately, full tank doesn't matter. You're going to be slamming inside of these late game team fights. Stone Shield means that whoever is around you, is going to become a tank as long as that cooldown is available. It's just such a large boon for safety as well as an added safety net for aggressive styles of play. So Loki assassinates in, Stone Shield, he's like swinging his daggers like 800 times on you, and he's just got more HP than some of your tanks. I like this draft so far from Elysium, but the same could be said of Just F6. Yeah. They've got themselves a pretty annoying draft. Soul's got Disapparate for survivability, the Scarab's Blessing from Kepri. If you somehow are able to chase out Soul, maybe try it yet again after she catches a revive, and Cerberus is a pretty strong front line and AoE CC applier.
Well, Bracken, Raven on the side of Elysium banned away, Ho Yi and the Cucullin get banned on the other side for Just F6. Bastet hovered. Bastet does a lot of damage. Bastet's not necessarily been the most popular pick as of late. I think we see Scream player, and that was true whether or not she's meta or not. But it is going to be locked in here for Just F6. And that, theoretically, could stick to Hell pretty easily.
It could, but you've only got one form of CC on Bastet, and it's incredibly telegraphed, the root when you toss out the cat. So Hell could just like cleanse that and then use the movement speed that she gets from her heal to just walk away.
Just walk away.
But you know, Bastet's damage output isn't just dependent on that CC. You could also just pounce in with your ultimate, land claws, and that's like 2,000 damage on its own. So raw burst damage is one way to deal with this hell. She isn't able to heal through an actual death. So I do think Bastet has potential here, but if Bastet falls behind and this hell elects to build even a little bit of survivability inside of the build, I'm talking like Breastplate of Valor, maybe like a Mantle of Discord, it's going to be very hard for this composition of just F6 to shut her down.
Well, King Arthur, Heimdall round out Elysium's draft. Amu's and Cobb rounds out just F6 draft. And I look at the right side of the screen, like you have to maybe do some heavy convincing for Sam to get him on the Bastet, but that feels like a Jade Dragons lineup that they have locked in there. Hurry loves going to the Soul. We've seen Panda Cat on this AMC several times. But it feels like we got some Smite on our hands, Mifflin. It feels like these teams are bringing something. We'll just have to figure out what it is. I'm excited to watch what Just F6 have to offer.
Yeah, I think Just F6 got themselves a good contentious draft, but my only concern is, where's your early game pressure coming from? I mean, AMC should be able to find lane pressure, sure, but as far as like 2v2 or 3v3 potential, they don't really have a ton of it.
Well, let's see what happens here in game number 1. We've had several games over the last couple of days go into the 70 kill count. I think it was 74 on Friday, 77 yesterday. And so I'm not, going to say anything, Elysium and Just F6. You got some work cut out for you to make sure.
Yeah, if you want to leave a lasting impression, I better see at minimum 80 kills sub 20-minute game.
Yeah, that'd actually be kind of sick. It'd be a lot, though. Oh, man, that's so much to keep track of.
I wouldn't even get a chance to cast. It'd all be you.
No, I'd make you. I would stop talking at a certain point. And it turned into conversation.
Yeah.
Just like we used to have
poetic.
way in the old SEA days.
What's SEA?
It was the Southeastern Asian region.
That's where I'm from.
That is where you're from.
That's right.
Good. I'm from the southeastern United States.
That's true. Standard starts across the board here for Just F6 and Elysium. Nobody really going too unorthodox inside of the build. Maybe worth noting that Lestemix has picked up a teleport, so if you force him out of lane, he's going to come back pretty quickly, but does not have a whole ton of survivability or engage potential until level 12. Which tells me Just F6 realizing that their early game not the strongest, they're just here to withstand the storm throughout.
Very fitting for Maskill. Playing Bastet has the cat lover as the title before his name. Taking a little bit of damage here between him and Adapting, but Soul's going to try to cut off the path. And Adapting's taking a little bit of damage. Luckily, hey, your stealth and visibility is nice. And despite the fact that Loki has more tells, he gets out of that engagement just fine. Forces the leap from Maskill. And is now getting some damage onto Sotos. Gets the kill immediately. Now they're going to follow through. Maskill's in an unfortunate spot, just trying to kite as much as he can. But you can't kite that. Angry is going to be able to find a kill for himself. And Adapting picks up one as well. Nice clean 2-0.
Yeah, maybe the early aggression from Just F6 was because they were utilizing that soul heat damage, but it's a pretty standard build. Doesn't have mannequins, so the early game not so strong. As Trix Tank takes a little bit of damage here. And Bastet should not just fight at level 2 like ever. That should almost never happen. Her damage output is not good pre-5. So that's easy pickings for Elysium there, who's got Hell out of the mid, who in levels 1 through 3 has some of the highest damage output that you could ask for from a mage. And Loki's early game legitimately incredibly strong.
Hey, speaking of Loki, guess where he is? Dual lane, and he's looking for a kill. Whether it's going to be Toddy or Rotwin is the question. Maskill's over here as well. It's a party in the 3v3. Spuddy is taking a lot of damage from the Bastet, but not enough. And the peel is going to be good. Adapting Spuddy over low. Trix Tank has the peel, and they're going to walk on away.
And that should spell the end of this engagement is what I was going to say, but yeah. Trix Tank, he's got different plans.
Yeah, he wants to go in. And hey, guess what? That spells the end of this engagement.
Well, hold on.
Is what I wanted to say. We'll see what happens as the good root from Rotwin, good knock-up from Trix Tank. Nah, they're not doing anything. They're just hitting each other.
I thought for sure Rotwin was going to have ducked there.
This feels like solo lane, baby. They're just smacking each other a lot, and then somebody's going to be low, and then they're not all of a sudden.
That is Soul Lane. You just did describe Soul Lane to me. At least we've got meditation.
Sometimes you look over there and they're like, oh man, that guy's pretty low, and then he just goes under his tower. He's alive still.
That is true. When I fall low, I too retreat to my safe zones. That's a pretty good call. Nice analysis.
Hey, whoa. That was the most chair one. That's exactly what happened on my screen, baby.
Okay.
All right.
You're absolutely right.
Turn my brain off for this.
Okay. I'm going to try and turn my brain on a little bit. Spudio trying his best to defend the Greater Scorpion on the left-hand side.
I'm trying to pull you down and you won't come with me.
We're 3 minutes into game 1. Maskill in some trouble.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage here. That's going to be another kill for
Is
adapting.
his jump down?
Well, unfortunately for him, we'll never find out. Whether it's down or not, he's dead. So he's down. And looks like Angry wants to get aggressive here. He's chasing Sodos down a lot deeper than I would expect Hell to go. He does have a Geb coming up behind him.
He's
the
not
damage
stopping.
seems to be there. It's just going. Trixtank throws out. Look, I love you, Trix. That might have been the most useless shield that I've ever seen. Does it give movement speed? Does it do anything like that?
Well, maybe he was worried about Sotos tossing out the slow, and he was going to cleanse the slow so the Chase could
nice.
keep up.
You know what? Preemptive shields. I can live with it. You're right.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
want to
Trixtank-
shield before the
man.
damage so you don't lose HP.
I'm sorry. That thing back there, I didn't mean that. That wasn't me. Can you forgive me?
Man, I don't.
I'm sorry,
He's
Miff.
in the middle.
It's Sunday.
He's
You're
in the
right.
middle of a
I gotta
game.
zone up. All right, let's go. It's 4 minutes in. It leads
Sure
3-0. Angry is now ticked over to level 5. We still have yet to see Maskill get their ult. 6 to 4 are the jungle levels in favor of adapting. And that's going, well, I was thinking it was going to be soon, but it's taken a little bit longer than I thought. Maskill has definitely fallen behind here. This blue buff might be able to help that out, but we've seen a lot of pressure from Terravom over there in the solo lane, seen a lot of pressure from Angry in mid, and a lot of pressure from the duo lane of Elysium. It just seems like, and just shy of invades, they're controlling as much as they can.
Yeah, 2,000 gold in their favor, about 4.5 minutes into this one. Neutral Farm largely been going the way of the Order team, 1,000 experience as well, and they've established themselves a pretty nice lead. I'd argue that the majority of that experience gap is likely on Adapting, who's got about a level and a half lead over Maskill out of the jungle. But finally, this past stat does tick over to level 5 and can start to get involved a little bit inside of these games.
All right, Maskill, let's see what you got. Because that is where the pressure's been lacking. Adapting's 2-0-1. He's been able to be a part of a lot of these fights. Maskill has been slightly slower on some of the rotations and definitely not able to impact as heavily. And I was hoping that level 5 would be the go button, but it seems like they fall back. In fact, Adapting might be looking to go a little deeper. No, they're going to fall and potentially turn on Sodos here, sitting in the mid lane. Rotwin's there as well. Adapting has ult. He's going to go for the damage immediately. Gets the Zapper, but no, it's not even going to be able to find anything. Rotwin, unfortunately, ults themselves. And that is the pains of being Khepri. Look, you get too close, you scream, get off of them, and sometimes you just accidentally click too fast and hit you instead of them.
If I'm Sodos there, I'm raging, bro. That wasn't a fast kill. Adapting didn't even have to use the ultimate. He just walked up and autoed this soul down, and your Khepri is getting aggressive on the other guy while you're fighting for your life 2 feet away. Unfortunate. Scare's blessing down,
Yo,
and so
but
is
I'm
Sodos.
alive, though.
Yo, and he was full HP, too.
Yeah, and you know what? If they had burned through that full HP, he would have rezzed.
That is true. True.
Factual, baby.
Yeah,
an unfortunate scenario for Rotwin there. Even worse that we caught it on camera. That one always feels bad. Now Adapting, I thought was going to actually go in and try to kill him, punish him for using that ult. It might be the case just around the red buff. If Sodos gets caught out here, Trixtank looking for potentially a Cataclysm.
Oh my god.
It's just the damage from Angry that knocks Sodos to half health. They're going to steal a red buff and potentially look for a little bit more. The rotation from Sodos and Rotwin in mid. They're hiding under their tower, but it doesn't seem to be enough to slow down Trixtank Angry. And Adapting's just going to wait there. I like this. This is an ambush.
Yeah, props to Sodos for being willing to like run to Rotwin for help still. I mean, he's inside of a siege scenario on his red buff, and he says, I'm going to run straight to my Khepri. I wouldn't trust Rotwin anymore after that early game, but Sodos, he's got some faith in his teammate. He's got the good mental fortitude, but what he doesn't have is a purple buff or a red buff. Elysium stripping away both.
Well, now we get to see Maskill. The ult has been popped. The damage is
Good
there.
Aegis.
The Aegis is better, but Angry still looking to fall down. What a great Cataclysm! Doesn't get the peel necessary. Trixtank is able to help with a stun, but Angry still falls down after burning everything in his kit. Adapting goes in, damage on Rotwin. Rotwin goes for the pull.
Ooh, good body box.
They have a lot of damage, but yeah, no follow-up enough from Sodos. And now Adapting's right back in here. Rotwin doesn't have ult. He's going to be able to pick up that kill, but Maskill has returned. Adapting loses his life. And just like that, Just F6 put 2 on the board.
They do, and what can they do on the map now? Invading a red buff's a pretty good start. Spudio could be in a position to rotate in and try and put up a defense with the help of Trixtank, but instead goes for those Oracle Harpies. Is not able to pick those up. Just F6 credit for those as well. So a nice swing for the Chaos team to bring themselves to a little bit closer to parity, but still just about 1,000 gold in favor of Elysium.
Ultimately, they don't get as much. I'm sorry. If you want to know,
What are you doing?
I was in a very. I was contemplating whether or not I wanted to go into the game
Yeah.
or say something dumb.
Okay, let's hear what you were gonna say about the game first.
I was just going to say, ultimately, you get the red buff, but unfortunately, you had lost your red buff and a purple buff on the invade. So it's, just F6. Like, they find as much as they can there. And they do get a little bit of a lead for Sodos. Maybe not as heavily as they would have wanted.
And what was the dumb thing?
If Loki was a superhero in the 40s, do you think he would have been called Dagger Boy? Dagger Dude, sorry. Dagger Dude or Invisiboy? That was the dumb thing, and I was like, why am I thinking about this? And I was having like a crisis. Hey, there's a two-man Cataclysm from Trickstank. The damage seems to be good, but it's not going to be enough to lock down Sodos just yet. It has the Scarab's Blessing as well, just for safety. And it is a fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Dude, what are you doing with your ult? Rotwin hits it that time. Unfortunately, doesn't get procced, and it's just fine.
Yeah, Rotwin is able to drop it on the right target this time. It's Dagger Boy, by the way.
Dagger Dude.
Yeah, Dagger Dude.
Hold on.
My bad. Got to get that
got the
alliteration in there. Yeah. Anyway, Toddy GR on the rotation. Back to his lane now. Is equal levels up against Spudio, and I don't imagine Spudio tries to take that 1v1 anytime soon. AMC incredibly strong at this point of the game as he has decided to build up a Transcendence, though. Maybe Spudio does look for the fight as he has the build advantage in a 1v1 situation. On the right-hand side of the map, though, just F6 grouped up as 3. Seeing if maybe they can catch somebody slipping, but all they're going to get for their efforts are a couple of backhands.
And you know what? Hey, good experience. You were down almost 2 levels earlier. Now Maskill is on par at the 10-10, maybe a little ahead now that they stripped some jungle away from adapting. Pyromancer's going to get started up by just F6. We haven't seen a whole lot of action on this side of the map. Tarim kind of bullied Listimics for a second at the beginning, and since then it's, Cerberus King Arthur. They haven't had too much going on for them. Pyromancer gets leashed, just F6 back off. They don't even want to take the 2v4.
Listimics does have a slight lead at this point, though. It was Tarim getting the better end of these trades early on, but maybe that teleport, making sure that Listimics does not miss out on any farm, has allowed him to be a little bit more proactive on the map and has net him about a half-level lead over the King Arthur inside of this one. Just F6 and Elysium still vying for just positioning here at this point in the game. It is very close insofar as golden experience, so maybe once we see a pick or something along those lines, that's when we can start shifting our attention towards these neutral objectives. Gold Fury and Pyromancer have spawned up at this point, 11 minutes into the game, but as of now, just F6 doing a good job of slowing down their pace, and again, their early game is legitimately very weak, so Elysium are in a position where they are forced to try and do something on the map and make just F6 approach.
Well, Pyromancer is going to be the something, and just F6 are going to be late on the approach, and they're not going to be able to get there in time. They get the Pyromancer for Elysium, and that is a good neutral objective, and the first neutral objective they're going to be able to scoop up. The gold lead just shying under 1,000 gold, which was a considerable amount staunched from earlier. They had a much more comfortable lead.
What does staunched mean? Because I know what like a staunch
Isn't like stifled?
front line.
Hold on, maybe did I use the word wrong? Let's Google it.
Well, you don't have to. You know, we're all right. So yeah, Angry is clearing out the pack camps.
Oh,
Red
yeah.
buff coming up
Never
very
mind.
soon.
Yeah, I think I just used it wrong.
Oh.
Don't worry about that. Hey, chat, forget I said anything.
What does staunch mean?
Nah, I gotta read
You closed it that quick?
Yeah.
And you just read it, man.
Loyal and committed in attitude, which is like a staunch supporter,
Yep.
or of strong or firm construction. These staunch walls could withstand an attack by
And how
a
did you
cannon.
use it?
I used it like more the way that stifle should be used.
Ah.
Like they brought down something.
A
which
staunch comeback.
seems
I
to
think
be
you said, right?
Yeah, well, no. Well, yeah. You know
Oh,
what?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
we'll-
what I said.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take that. We'll take that.
It's a staunch comeback from just F6. Strong and it is exactly, well, enough to stifle a lead from Elysium.
Toddy GR forced to use the beads defensively off of a Cataclysm from Trickstank this time around, so that should break the floodgates a little bit here. Something forcing the map. Adapting, though, taking the 1v1 up against Maskill and walks away with a kill to his name. Credit to the Loki. And Bastet, no ultimate, no life available, also lost out on her beads. Tough one for just F6 jungler.
Very happy to have a Hell as well. That would have been a forced back at the minimum. But now Adapting's right back to where he was before the fight had started, so he's going to feel just fine. Plus, he gets the kill. Feels pretty good about it. Aggression still going on in the dual lane. You can see Sodos sort of was making his way over here. Now Sodos backs off, just goes for the red buff. Same thing could be said for Angry. Peeks his head around the corner and then ultimately stops. Trixtank has been looking for aggression. Rotwin has been looking for aggression, but neither of them have really been able to find the pull into the setup they want for their character.
Man, this game has been a pretty massive jungle gap up until this point. 1-3-1 for Mass Kill on the side of Just F6, and unfortunately for him, lined up against Adapting, who's sitting at 5-1-1, 6 of the 6 affected kills by this Loki, 5 to his name, and you can see it reflected. 2 levels up and a ton of items ahead.
Depending on how that fight had gone, Adapting was looking to try and make it 6. Gold Fury's been started up by Elysium. Terram and Adapting are going to rotate in a little late. Gold Fury was leashed, sitting at about half HP. And now it's picked back up again by Elysium. Terram goes into the back line, being a nuisance as much as possible. Good Cataclysm, but only onto Lystimics. He's not taking a whole lot of damage in the process, but the rest of Just F6 are really worried about Adapting, rightfully so. And Adapting might go for Mass Kill under the tier 1. He was waiting for him to continue walking back. Goes a little too late. Mass Kill makes it back to the base. Gold Fury's picked back up once again.
Adapting did show himself on the map there as the minion wave did pass by him, so Just F6 are privy to his positioning. He has to go ahead and move like a World War II sniper, take a shot, immediately reposition himself, heads towards mid, and clears out a wave. But Elysium, even with the positioning granted to them by Adapting's aggressive routing, are not quite able to secure themselves a Gold Fury. Instead, it is a hard reset in Just F6. They didn't. They're all still here. Gold Fury pulled by the Chaos.
In fact, even better, Mass Kill got to go and heal, so he's feeling even better than he was. They're starting it up. They burn it fast. And just F6 are able to scoop that one away and bring us back to what is a easily manageable gold lead, even though the experience is still slightly in favor of the other side. Most of that sitting in the solo lane, a little bit in the jungle as well. And so Just F6 in a manageable position here. We'll see if they can maintain this. That's how, again, it's been the biggest problem for this team has been maintaining this competitive aspect throughout the entirety of the game. And Elysium are not going to give you a lot of opportunities. That one was a golden opportunity to capitalize on, so great by them. Now Lystimics is getting aggressive. Adapting has no mana. Stun's a little wide, and Adapting's going to get out of there. Terram's just beating him up. Terram's taking no damage, dealing very little, admittedly, in return, but he's causing a lot of trouble and ruckus.
Yeah, I'm just still head-scratching on why Elysium group up as 5. They forced the positioning of the Gold Fury. They've got a lead to play around. They get exactly what they want in that Just F6 rotates in with all 5 members. So if Elysium want to, they can extend the dance around the Gold Fury almost indefinitely because they have a Hell. Or at least just stand around and make sure that Just F6 isn't farming, so you're putting them even further behind. But instead, it was a 5-man grouping from Elysium. Adapting, split pushes one wave into a tier 1 tower, and then every singular member of Elysium scatters to the wind while Just F6, who are standing at the Gold Fury the entire time, say, oh, word, they're gone. Free objective. It's just interesting play. And that's the caster usage of the word interesting. I meant questionable. And that's another caster word. I meant that it wasn't exactly the most strategically sound engagement.
And that's another very diplomatic way of saying, what the hell, guys?
What happened,
why'd you back off? We'll see if it ends up, hurting them in the long run. I mean, ultimately, right now,
I couldn't be blunt.
The gap.
I said 3 diplomatic phrases. I was trying so hard.
Yeah, and then I wanted to be blunt. You just couldn't. You're too nice.
I'm such a nice guy.
You're just such a good dude, as it turns out.
I appreciate that.
Pyromancer is back and available. Fire Giant's over on the other side of the map. Or I guess sitting next to the Pyromancer. It's sitting over there on the right-hand side, both neutral objectives. Waiting patiently. Nobody in a good position for it. Although with the burn that Just F6 had, I turned my attention to any neutral objective. That was
solo
nuts fast. Adapting's trying to solo down the Pyromancer. Lystimics shows up. Lystimics might have made a mistake. The damage is there. Half health for the Cerberus as of right now, but the leap is going to be good. Get out of there. In fact, Sodos turns around to kill and gets rid of Adapting immediately in this fight. It becomes a 4v3 as we see a grouping of massed kills hanging out in mid lane. Might be able to rotate around. The 3 of them looking to jump in. It's going to be the Pyromancer picked up for Just F6. They should have the burn, especially with Mass Kill joining, and there's no fight back from Elysium.
No, with Adapting dead for 25 seconds, having tanked the entirety of Sodos' ultimate. Yeah, he's dead for a while. It is a good opportunity for Just F6 to try and push this lead, this numbers advantage. If they could find one more pick, could even open up the door for a Fire Giant.
Well, they're looking for it. They're going deep into the mid lane there.
Ooh,
Even is the Frenzy. They're going to get the Aegis from Angry, and they're following up with the damage, but Angry is Hell, and Hell has Trix Tank body blocking. It seems to be good enough here.
Toddy?
Maybe a little bit too deep. Good knock up. Spudio Tarum going to be looping around. Toddy's low. Rotwin ults themselves, will get the res, but does that cost Toddy their life? Toddy seems to be able to get out of here. Maskill is running away. Knock up from Geb. Not going to be. No, he blinks forward. They're going to be able to get rid of Rotwin and Sodos in the mid lane. They don't quite have the follow-up to ruin Toddy and Maskill, but they do knock them back and get a 2-0 trade.
Just F6 diving a little bit too deep. You don't know. It was just Toddy GR sticking around a little bit too long. Baits the rest of his team into a poor position. Otherwise, Just F6 were right in trying to chase out those kills. And now Elysium and Adapting, rejoining his team at the Fire Giant, have pulled the objective.
Lestimics, this is how the last one started, but this time the team isn't there immediately.
I think he's dead.
And he is sent through the realms and dead. Nope. He jumps
And
away
dead.
and dead. There it is. Adapting with a little bit of bleed is able to find that. Fire Giant started back up by Elysium and maintained by Spudio and Angry. The other three looking to be zone duty. And they are going to find Toddy. Toddy is dead. Maskill is going to hang around, but it doesn't have ult. Doesn't have anything to do here. Sodas is back in base. Rotwin's on the other side of the planet. This is a free FG.
It's only 1,000 gold separating these two squads. These fights should not be as one-sided as they have been. It's either Just F6 dominating Elysium in a small skirmish, well, a couple of times, 3 kills to their name so far, or Elysium absolutely washing the entirety of Just F6 inside of these fights, and that's how this one pans out yet again. Elysium, superior positioning off of an extended chase from Just F6, are able to secure themselves 3 kills and the Fire Giant, then a couple of kills on the tail end afterward. Lestemics and Toddy still on the respawn as it stands. So Elysium now 3,000 gold in the lead. Fire Giant on 5 members and 5 towers still standing for Just F6. Got to think this gold lead's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, but Just F6's siege defense is pretty good. They've got great ways to keep the wave out, decent lane control for CC. Stygian Torment might not work against Loki or really up against Cleanse too often, but you still got a slow from the AMC. Soto should be able to keep these minion waves out pretty easily, and if anyone from Elysium steps too far forward, Maskill is certainly a threat at this point with the build as it stands. And, well, Kepri's got a pretty simple goal ahead of him. He's got to land a revive on somebody, and in a true 5-on-5 engagement, you got 4 targets that are pretty good. 5 if you count yourself, but I don't.
They're still moving forward. Oh, geez, Toddy. Gone. That as easy as it could be. 3 people were on the right-hand side. They pushed down a tier 1 on solo in favor of Just F6. But now they're backing before they can get to the tier 2. They push the minion wave forward. Tier 1 in mid about to fall. Tier 1 in left did get taken. Alongside the kill of Toddy, they are now knocking down those towers. Hey, that gold thing you were talking about where the towers go down and they get a lot of it, Elysium's doing that.
Sotos?
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 Just dead, as it turns out.
He just walked into him.
Very similar to what happened to Toddy, but at least Toddy was under a tier 1 tower. Maskill's low, and Maskill seems to be able to get out of this one. Lestimics got sent through the realms and crashes back down. Doesn't look like there's going to be enough CC for the kill to come through. Tarum is trying their best to make sure he stays there, but unfortunately, your 2 frontliners versus another frontline, the damage isn't going to be there. They knock down a second tier 2 here in mid. Adapting's going to get to join the conversation. They're still in a 4v5. They're going to get aggressive. Toddy was respawned, and Toddy might not get to spend too much time alive. At least is forced back onto the base. Left side Phoenix goes down. Elysium are just running through the objectives.
Elysium are aloof right now. I mean, they are a malevolent god on the battleground. Just whoever walks in front of you probably shouldn't have, because we're going to kill you. If you want a gold fury, I don't care. We'll group up as 5 and then immediately leave it afterward. But it's wild. Just F6, they lost the narrative, man. Sotos, like a lemming, walked in and died.
Now the damage is seemingly good for Elysium. Sotos is back, though, and that might change things.
Back.
Hey, there's minions on the Titan behind them. They're fighting. Trix Tank is pretty low. Taking the Phoenix. Adapting is stranded in no man's land. They pull them far away. Adapting might just go for the Titan. There's going to be a little bit of health respawn. Loki finally coming into the fight. Sotos gets to Aegis out most of the damage, but he goes up to the sky, comes right back down, and sent into the ground. The chase is on. Maskill's low. Toddy getting a little bit of healing. Tarum eats way too much, and Toddy is able to get the kill. But now they're looking for the bird one last time on the side of Elysium. They don't have the damage for it. Trix Tank gets knocked out. A TP to Phoenix happens here for Lestimics. He gets the healing. Maskill has to back off. They've got a minion wave alongside him. Elysium are going to go for it one more time.
And they are. Trix Tank taking up that tower is taking too much damage. Nice cleanse from Angry. He is going to maintain his life this time around. And Fire Giant HP 5, Angry at full mana, has got about infinite health generated for his team here. Just F6, they may have stopped the siege for now, but having lost the left side Phoenix and with Elysium as healthy as they are, I think there might be a re-engage in the books here.
I mean, that wouldn't be too surprising, especially with this positioning. They haven't backed off too much. They're just taking your jungle. Do drop the Scorpion a little earlier. I think everyone was saying someone else would get it. Nobody got it. They get the red buff. They get the purple buff. Get a greater Scorpion on top of it. And now Angry, look, just for the hell of it, gets a Harpy on top of that. Backs up. They're going to get all of their gold spent and set back up for the next Fire Giant.
If Hell was a 1940s superhero, what would her name be?
Healing Hell.
Healing Hell? You think so?
No, probably not.
Not in the
Something better than
1940s.
that. Yeah.
Two-Face girl. Two-Face magic girl.
I don't know. The 40s, they were like bad people in the 40s.
Yes.
Like,
well, I mean, that's not true of just the 40s. I feel like now is probably the best time to be alive if we're going to go to this philosophical place.
No matter what, as long as we continue progressing forward, now is always going to be whatever the current time is. The past always sucks.
Yeah.
You know, in the 1840s, it was even worse than the 1940s.
So like,
well, maybe not. 1940s kind of had World War II. That big sucked.
Oh, yeah, all right. No. But, like, if you go even further back, right, you're like, oh, the 40s sucked. I should have lived in the 30s.
What about, like,
look forward to the
BC?
40s.
Oh, no, you don't want to live in the 30s. Great Depression. That's it. That
was that stopped in, like, 1924, didn't it?
No.
It
was
was
the Roaring 20s.
The Roaring 20s was all the 20s.
And then in 1929, the stock market crashed in November, I believe, and then the 30s at the very beginning were depressed because the economy sucked. And then it was revitalized because of the war effort, I believe.
For all you gamers skipping class today, you didn't.
It's Sunday.
you didn't. We're giving it to you anyway.
If you skipped class, I'm impressed. What school are you going
Sunday
to?
school, dummy. God, you're so
they have
stupid.
Sunday
Anyway,
school.
Elysium,
Hey, whoa, I didn't have to go to Sunday school because I
son.
had good grades.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. What's up?
Yeah, if Goremizer were in the Breakfast Club, he simply wouldn't have been there.
Simply wasn't in the movie, actually. No, yeah, they get the Fire Giant one more time for Elysium. And now they're controlling the right side Phoenix. Left, or mid, I should say, is still sitting around, well, what, 2/3 HP? And left is about to respawn. The fire minions are all the way around the Draugr. They're getting a little bit of poke done. Trickstank wants to start fighting, but not quite enough to commit to it. Pokes in, takes a little bit of damage, backs off. You had mentioned this earlier, but Angry has infinite health to give away.
Yep, and infinite mana to utilize it, thanks to that Fire Giant buff. But it is a 4-on-4 on the right-hand side, 1v1 in mid between the junglers, and Adapting has come on ahead for the most part inside of those small little skirmishes. But Elysium are leveraging the healing incredibly well here in Adapting, having forced Mass Kill's ultimate. Might just win another fight.
He'll miss his own ult, but has the damage necessary. That Phoenix...
Tough.
Oh, it's not even going to be enough to get away. Mass Kill picked up by the two. And Loki able to find himself a kill. Now going into the jungle, heals himself up ever so slightly. He's going to use that fire minion on left to split push while his team continues distracting over here on right. Lestimix takes a little bit of poke. And the damage seems to be there overwhelmingly in favor of Elysium. But it's only onto the front lines as of right now, so they haven't done too much. Left side Phoenix down, right side Phoenix down. Mid Phoenix next on the chopping block for Elysium.
And I can't imagine there's too much opposition from Just F6 here, who are still trying to clear out the minions on the Titan proper. Mid Phoenix will fall down, so all three are removed.
Oh, through the realms. I didn't even get to see who they sent. Comes crashing back down pretty soon. So does Toddy. They're going to make it back to the base, but Lestimix, that's not going to be there for you. Adapting does get pulled back and killed off. Toddy, credit for the kill, but the Titan's low, and it seems like they should have the damage to close this one out for Elysium. They're still playing around a little bit, but they ultimately have the minions and have the power. 15-5 read the kills. 27 minutes in. Elysium get their win.
As close as that game was for as long as it was, it just felt like Just F6 really never had their feet under them, did it?
Yeah.
I mean, Elysium allowed, and I think that's the proper verbiage, they allowed Just F6 to get the only good fights that they had. I mean, a couple 1 versus 3s where Just F6 was able to pick up the one, or maybe an objective where Elysium just washed their hands of it and walks away. It was the only one that Just F6 got. Cleaned up for Elysium, sitting at the top of the leaderboards.
Well, we'll get to break that game down, as well as maybe the history lesson, or at least look forward into game number 2, right after this. That's right, hi-rez showcase, the 6th through the, what was that, 9th, 10th? That came through. The dates were literally on the screen, and I missed it because I was looking at Mifflin trying to tell him that we have, in fact, been airing that video for a while.
Why am I?
I'm putting you on blast
because you couldn't remember the dates?
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be a good time. Make sure that you tune in for that. Of course, there's going to be the SWC with the cosplay contest, all sorts of things. I believe we did panels during this last year as well. It's going to be very fun, and I know this last year was incredibly entertaining. And so I anticipate that this year will be just as much, if not more so, with the way things have been going. SCC, we're still in Europe. We're still watching Elysium. We're still watching them take on Just F6, as it turns out. But Elysium game number 1, and you had said it best towards the end, where like it's very competitive for a long time, And then Elysium just kind of determined that Just F6 aren't allowed to win any more fights.
Yeah, so, man, that is a philosophical debate, right? Like, what is competitiveness inside of a match? If Elysium allows Just F6 to remain close to even for the entire duration of the early game, was it really a close match? It just felt like every single second of this one was dictated by Elysium. Any objective that you're fighting over, Elysium chose that. Any team fight you're taking, Elysium chose that. First blood, Elysium took that pretty early on. Double kill first blood legitimately for adapting this time around. Loki, we said it earlier during the P's and B's, not a god we really associate with the king out of the jungle. I think he looks pretty good on it.
Yeah, he played it just as well as you would expect adapting to play anything in the jungle. And of course he was able to show up a lot of times. I think he got 2 1v1s in the jungle there, one early on against Maskill, one towards the very end, where he was able to find a kill that really helped separate him from his team and allowed him to split push things like a left side Phoenix and really set himself apart. Only, well, I say only, 3.5 KDA. He was able to pick up a ton of kills throughout that game. He just looked good. Hey, here's that solo kill I was talking about. He looked very, very solid on this pick, and it was the first pick, so that's exactly what you want.
It is. When you go for something that isn't really prioritized very high in the pick order generally, and you do take it for yourself, you have to expect it to do well, and adapting does exactly that. 9, 3, and 3 for the jungler adapting, but it wasn't just him putting out some good numbers on the board. Angry puts out 18,000 damage as well as 20,000 healing. It kind of feels like Just F6 allowed that to happen a little bit too much, and then Stemmix, or Terram rather, on the other side, also putting up 20,000 damage. Good numbers from Elysium.
Terram, just like terror portion of his name, accurate. He was just causing so much trouble in the backline. Like, King Arthur was on you consistently, and there wasn't much you could do about it throughout the duration of that game. We'll see how Just F6 are going to be able to adapt to that one. They're going to have to adapt to not only the King Arthur, but adapting himself.
Nice.
It's going to be difficult, as we see
Elysium
still keeping first pick. They banned Fenrir. We had Tiamat bans. We had Uller bans. I'm trying to remember all of them, but some of them weren't as mainstream as you would think. The RDO was definitely there, though.
It was, and it is here yet again. Just F6 take RDO off the table. Fenrir
Odin
still going to be banned out. Odin taken off the table in chat. You didn't see it, but Gore was not looking at the screen. He was looking at me, and he called out the Odin anyway, so congratulations. There's a screen behind me, isn't there? Is there a screen behind me? Were you looking at the screen behind me?
Yeah.
I thought we were making eye contact. I thought we were having a moment.
Prolonged eye contact.
All right, so Gore did cheat, actually, and he did know that the Odin was banned out before he
also,
said it.
there's a monitor right there.
I was trying to give you some credit, man. That's all I was trying to do. It's a long day today on this fine Sunday. I wanted you to get off on the right foot. Anyway.
I'm on the right foot, baby. Did you hear that last cast? Woof! On fire.
So who is on the right foot
Fuego.
is Elysium and Just F6, who've got
Not
themselves
me. My right foot
some
hurts.
pretty nice bans. That is true. In like a brace for the last 2 weeks. Ooh, gonna be the first pick overall for Elysium this time around, and that was a god that was banned out in the first phase in Game 1. Last time it was Loki picked up for Elysium's jungler. Now, pass that torch a little bit. Let somebody else do some of the carrying. Adapting, have to wait a little bit longer on his pick.
Or Uller for adapting.
That is something that could happen. There's a non-zero chance.
It is physically possible to have happened.
That is true.
Probably won't, though. We'll probably see that get over to Spudio. Chiron Kepri is the answer. And we've seen a lot of answers to the Uller. I don't know that Chiron's been one of them, at least not consistently, but admittedly, if someone's going to kill you as fast as Uller is, Chiron's got an ult to at least prolong and potentially turn something around.
That's true. Death immunity from Chiron's ultimate and death immunity from Kepri's ultimate. So if Ull...
You can kill us fast, but we'll just live.
Yeah, we're just going to live through it. And you know what? You can also drop Kepri's ultimate on Chiron when he's inside Centaurus, extending his own life. Doesn't have to actually get a kill revive there. Can rely on the Scarab's Blessing. Yeah, 2 ways to revive and not have to earn it. That's pretty good for Just F6's duo lane. Meanwhile, Elysium picked themselves up an incredibly scary draft. Ull, Hell, and Geb going to round out the top 3. That's initiation, that's healing, that's damage, that's one-shot potential. That's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
Of course, the shielding, the CC that Geb is able to peel you from and provide. So all of that. Good and more. Elysium get a great top 3. Raijin rounds out the top 4 Just F6. Survivable is the way I would describe that team. And they've got decent damage behind them, although Chiron might need a little bit more to come online. Kukulkan ends up being the ban here for Just F6, very similar to what they did last time. Adapting still doesn't have a god, though, so I'm wondering if Just F6 are going to take any other shots over towards the jungle.
You already called it, man. Ull for the jungle. What do you mean? We're worried about Spudio's god now.
If they lock in something like a Heimdall,
you're gonna pop off?
I probably, 'cause that's kind of nuts.
That it would be nuts. Ratatasker Robin from Just F6 going to round out the second phase of bans. Camazot's Bastet on the other side. Both of them targeting out a lot of junglers here. That is actually Kakullen. That's actually
okay, I was going to say, where did you get Ratatasker?
Well, look, from really far away, I'm not wearing my great glasses. I could have looked at the monitor that's right here or the one that you called out a little bit earlier. Sorry, guys. I know that Kakullen.
And I also
Ratatasker
said
are
Kakullen before giving it over to you.
And Gore definitely said Kakullen. Anyway, Osiris locked in on the other side. God of the Afterlife alert. We are straight out of Egypt. This guy is going to be slamming you with those sickles. Meanwhile, Elysium pick up Thanatos, and I think that is likely headed for the jungle.
Yeah, probably. I think that's safe to say. That it is very grounded. In
Grounded.
most of my research, Thanatos goes to the jungle. So we'll see if that stays true. King Arthur comes back. They pretty much get at least the same core 3 for Elysium, and then you get a power-up from the duo lane. And depending on how Adapting plays, a power-up in the jungle, but Adapting plays pretty well. And so I think this Thanatos should be interesting. And you had mentioned, well, at least last time, there was a lack of early game pressure from Just F6. They definitely have more of that this time around.
A lot more.
But Thanatos also brings that. So it's going to be maybe a little more heavy-handed early on.
I don't know. Just F6 have Chiron, who's incredibly strong in the early. Raijin, pretty good. Erlang Shen, probably one of the best.
Yeah.
Osiris, definitely one of the best.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot of early game pressure.
That's 80% of their team.
Yeah, the onus on Just F6 to try and set the pace early on this time around, whereas Elysium, they've got some pieces that succeed in the early game. Thanatos, as you highlight, I'd argue that Uhl, once you tick over to around level 5, has a good deal of burst in his own right. Hell, around level 1 through 3, feels very good. Afterward, you're waiting till the late game. So, who's got the better scaling come late game? That's probably Elysium.
We'll see if they can make it there, if Just F6 give them the opportunity, or if Just F6 are going to pilot this early game as well as they can and take back game number 2. So Elysium are going to be starting, hey, pretty much the same way we said last time. Standard all across the board. It is going to be Spudio playing the Uller. If there were any doubts, it is. I sounded upset. I'm not actually.
If you were wondering, the Hunter is going to the duo lane.
Yeah. We had cast some air of doubt about it just because it was funsies. Yeah, like
it was funsies.
There was like 2%, not even. There's like 0.5% doubt on it.
Not even. So anyway,
there was 0.01% doubt on it.
Gore, at some point this game, I'm gonna bring like World's Final level hype. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna break it out.
If I can match that, I will be pleasantly surprised with myself.
You give me a late game team fight. I'm gonna pop off.
I'll
but
let you have it.
It happens right here. Last time around, it was an early skirmish inside of the mid, and well, there goes Maskill trying his best, at least able to force the beads. Yo, my spider senses tingled right there.
And you know what? You nailed it. This is weird. You have the Chaos side and the Order side opposite as where they should be. And it seems like it's going to get enough damage onto Spudio, force him to use those healing pots and stay alive, but it's not going to be able to find a kill just yet over in the duo lane. Same thing for the mid lane as of right now. Seems to be patient isn't the term I would use for it. They want a little bit more. A good pin at any time from Maskill, really, alongside of Raijin, is such a deadly combo. But it seems like they're going to be able to fall back, and everything stays even.
With Maskill going for Mannequin Scepter as his starter item, he's sacrificing a lot of late game scaling. Generally, Bumba Spear seems to be the new flavor for these auto attack junglers. So Maskill is going to have a much stronger early game thanks to this pickup, but he puts himself on a timer. If he doesn't find a kill in like the first 6 or 7 minutes, probably shouldn't have built that item, I'm going to say. So keep your eyes on this Erlang Shen and how well he's able to leverage that early on. He's got some decent targets to start looking towards. Already stripping the beads from Angry is a great start. He's got still 90 seconds left to try and hit some value as Rotwin takes a little bit too much damage.
Yeah, jump in from Spudio. Seems like it'll be enough, but Spudio's got no mana to work with and has to slow their roll. Now Trixtank pulled back into the fray. Good stun, good damage onto Toddy, but Trixtank still falls down. Rotwin gets first blood, and Spudio just has to watch.
First blood is going over to Just F6 here. Spudio playing a little bit aggressively, maybe concerned that he could get abducted, but still has the beat, so is allowed to play as far up as he wants at this point. Angry, though, being accosted inside of the jungle. Isoto's just making sure if that red buff does go down, Angry has to work for it.
And they're getting A little more aggressive. Trickstank is hanging around to try and defend this one. Trickstank, you just lost your life. You're going to get pinned. Good knock up onto all three. Angry has some damage to follow through. But it's a 3v1 effectively. Trickstank gets mezzed out as well from the rollout. The damage doesn't connect. The healing from Angry is going to be enough to keep him alive a little bit longer. Sodos instead is the one who ends up going down. The Raijin can't escape. And now Maskill's getting chased by Adapting. They don't have the silence just yet. And the damage doesn't seem to be connecting. And Trickstank has rejoined the fray. They're going to be able to get it. There's a good death scythe. Adapting, continuing forward. Wide silence, trying to find the last bit of damage. Maskill's so low, but not going to be able to make it out, or makes it out alive with just under 30 health there. It ticks over. And now the invade will start coming through for Elysium. There's not much to find over here other than a purple buff.
Yeah, maybe they find Toddy GR walking towards that purple buff. The Giddy Up will be able to get him out of this situation. And Maskill just does red while Elysium does in his team. I mean, it was a team fight that Maskill actively decided to not participate in, especially considering, again, Mannequin Scepter Erlang Shen, probably one of the strongest members on the map right now, would have very much been appreciated for Just F6 to have him inside of that fight. Instead, though, Elysium able to pick up their first kill onto Sodos with 0 opposition from Just F6 off an extended red buff invade attempt.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit overstaying their welcome. Maybe using the Thunder Crash aggressively on Trickstank. Great as it was to stall out the dash. Might have put you in a bad position there and locked you down. Speaking of bad position, Karam's going to get locked up, taunted in by Maskill. Damage is good, taken into the skies as the Osiris, but they're just waiting for you to come down. You can spin through as much as you want. You're not going to get out of that one. Taram gets taken away, and Maskill has their hands much more heavier in the fights here in Game 2.
600 or so gold separating these two squads. Just F6 have established themselves a small lead inside of the early game, but what are they able to do with it? Invading a blue buff, that's a pretty good start, making sure that Taram, who has now fallen inside the lane, is also missing out on some experience, some gold, and some mana regen going forward. Maskill, though, going to split a lot of farm with Listemics, and Listemics actually hitting him with a little bit of a toxic ping there. Hits him with the yellow ping, says, hey, don't touch my wave, just gank, no split.
Just gank, no split. And unfortunately, you never get that.
No, junglers need that, bro.
They need that experience, as it turns out. The gank part,
we didn't need that. That's for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, your payment is the experience that they then strip away.
That's why we call it the tax.
Adapting is going to take the Greater Scorpion over here on left. He's been hovering around and has Hovering Death as well. But he's not going to be using that to go in. A good execute, something that's always worth talking about whenever Kepri's on the other side, does go through Kepri res. We'll see how often we get to see that, because most of the time I feel like I've seen Hovering Death lately used more as a engage stun than as the, haha, I'll kill you through the Kepri res, you fool.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. You put an execute on his global gap close, right? But he's got so much damage elsewhere in his kit that you're not really waiting on someone to fall low. You're like, all right, I mean, if I dunk on him, Scythe's probably going to do the rest no matter what.
Yeah.
You essentially have 2 executes inside your kit if you're willing to stretch the truth. And when I say that, if you're willing to lie. And I am. I lie as easily as I breathe.
Well, no, it's just like hyperbole, right? Like you're just saying, like
hyperbole is just a lie, but with more syllables.
Damn, you're right. Wait a minute.
Well,
hyperboles do just be lies, though.
With more syllables.
But it sounds like a fancy English term. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what the extra syllables do.
It's just like, yeah, maybe it just makes you sound smarter. You're a liar, but you sound intelligent. And, well, hyperbolic or not, whether it's a time chamber or just us talking about Adapting potentially having a second execute. We'll see if that comes in handy here. Beads burned by Adapting. The turnaround is there. The damage hasn't followed up. Good silence. It's going to not save Trickstank at all, actually. It saved him for a second.
A little bit more.
Follow up. He wants the stun. No, Adapting's just going to fall back. And they're going to watch their support die.
Yeah, Angry, had he had just a little bit more damage, one more ability could have dropped Rotwin in an execute range. But again, good team fight from Just F6 to try and exploit Trickstank inside of the early game. Geb, although incredibly strong come late game, especially with some of the changes he's had to his ultimate, is still incredibly exploitable throughout the early, and falling down 0-2, seems like Just F6 has spotted that out.
And they've been doing a great job. You had mentioned that they need to be aggressive early on, and hey, guess what they're doing? Aggressive early on. Maskill has been a huge portion of these. Gone for the Crusher as his first item alongside that Mannequins, and he has been utilizing them as well as he can. Specifically up against Trickstank, not a fun day to be a support as of right now. And the taunt still halfway on cooldown. Same thing there for the Taiko drums out of Sodos. I haven't seen as much to the dual lane as I kind of anticipated. I thought Spudio, admittedly, maybe he needs some more items. I kind of thought Spudio was going to just do a lot, do Uller things. We haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, they're both playing very aggressive picks, but we're 7 minutes in. They just have recently finished those Transcendences, and we're probably going to be waiting to stack them up before they get involved. I mean, it's likely going to be Jotun's Wrath inside of that next slot for both of these guys, unless maybe Toddy GR likes to pick up the Crusher. So, for a little bit, I expect the dual lane to be relatively quiet. Otherwise, if you're looking for action, look no further than what you see on the screen right now. Mid lane seems to be the focus for both of these teams. I thought maybe Rotwin was going to go for a bit of an abduct there, which is why I paused ever dramatically. But no, we're just tossing out poke max range.
And hey, you know what? They're still doing that. Tossing out poke max range. Adapting's here. Maybe he'll also throw out some poke max range. Seems like they're not going to be able to find too many kills over here. If you're really looking for action, we had a 77 kill game yesterday. I challenged Elysium to match that so far.
Wait, no, I did that. That was me.
You did that? You challenged it?
Yeah, I was like, let's get 80 and 20.
You did say let's get 80 and 20. They haven't done that.
No.
And I'm just going to say we're 4 and 9.
Well, here's a good
not
start.
doing too much. Maybe 5 and 9 here. Tarum in trouble. Tarum staying
Oh, he's
alive, though.
fine.
Hey, yeah, no, so
He's
it's 4
chilling.
and 9, as it turns out. Not, as it turns out, mathematically on pace for 80 and 20.
Well, there's going to be exponential kill growth when you got to take into account the
Kill
damage you
timers
get from
longer as the game goes
items.
on, though.
Kill timers do be getting longer. That's facts. You're right. I was wrong. But you know who's not wrong? Angry in the decision
We
to
had
go
a
to this red
triple-double
buff.
yesterday.
Yes.
I'm just trying to talk to you about Smite, dude. They're slow. I don't know what to tell you. There's a good knockback. Ooh, fancy from Trickstake here. Yeah, it's insane. They're getting a lot of poke. They're farming. I just wanted to talk about the fact that there was a triple-double yesterday.
There sure was. Okay, fine. All right. Do you know who Jean-Claude Van Damme is?
Yeah, y'all were talking about it on the desk. I
Yep.
was laughing very hard about 5 feet.
I
from
still
where I'm
don't
sitting
know.
right
I still don't know what movie he's in. As Lystemix gets slammed by Cataclysm, Death Sight, dropped into execute range, adapting up to the air. Lord of the Afterlife used to escape inside of this one, but the meditation is going to be enough to keep Lystemix outside of the range of this execute. Elysium now on the disengage. Can they get out? Yes, they can. But where are they headed? With the space created, Pyromancer now on the menu.
And they're going to do it, man. They're locking it down. The damage is dealt. There is the Kepri. Elysium secure themselves a Pyromancer.
What's
And
that
fall
gold
back
lead?
to continue their
Oh,
fight.
they're
Yeah,
800 down
that's where we
still.
need- they're still down a little bit in the gold. Maybe these mid camps will make a difference. Maybe the fight that they're looking for. Sodos uses the dash. Angry doesn't have anything to do with it. And Trickstank is going to get a knock up. The damage is there, but they don't have any follow through. Seems like it's instead Maskill getting aggressive. The 1v1 in the jungle. He wants revenge for last time, and the Stimix is going to ruin the purity of the 1v1. They just want to kill Adapting, and they're going to keep chasing him as far as they can. Tier 1 tower
out.
seems to be enough of a safety net that he's going to be able to get out of there. Trickstank being the big body up front. Actually might get himself killed off. Locked down. Maskill looking for more. Pulled back by Rotwin. The damage isn't doing much, but it's stacking up. What a great stun from Tarum to make sure that all 3 of them stop the follow-up. There's the Lord of the Afterlife. Damage is there. Trickstank is going to live, though.
Seriously?
As he rolls out, goes the opposite direction. But look at Sodos. He's coming around the jungle. Trickstanks need to be very careful. Tarum going to go down. Good shield. They're not going to be able to save his life. Trickstank watches him fall.
Oh,
But he stays
Adapting.
alive with 30 health, and Adapting's back.
And Angry finally makes the rotation in as well, able to put some damage into mass kill on the tail end of this engagement. Rotwin still has the Scarab's Blessing, though, so just F6. Don't have to worry too much about this elongated engagement. Elysium, well, they're just happy able to pull one back. Terrorim for Soto's trade, and Solo for mid. It's about even. Net wash here.
Net wash. Ultimately, Elysium maybe needing a little more objective play, team play. I mean, they haven't had too much going for them in the last couple of fights, although good turnarounds still available in the conversation. Front lines have been dying. That's the only ones that have been dying for Elysium, so maybe that actually makes things better for them. If at the end of the day you're only losing Trickstank, it's, you know, kind of their job. It still sucks, but it's their job. Now we get to see the Uller things potentially. The damage is there. Axe is wide. The damage from Toddy seems to be a little bit better.
Two,
and he goes into the ult,
three.
but it's going to be the turnaround. Spudio gets the kill. The shield, not even necessary there, but it helps, and it looks fancy. Spudio is able to get the kill
No way,
up against Toddy. And now he stays here.
Surely
There's
not.
the Taiko drums.
Okay.
One misses, one connects. And Sodos is going to get that. Little bit of panic there for you, Mifflin. He thought Sodos potentially get turned on. Looking at adapting and angry in the jungle. Still could.
I was just he could have like Raiju, then jumped, and not have to have used the ultimate to get the kill, and then he could have saved it to chase out Trix Tank. With the rest of his team rotating in, the taunts would have likely bought enough time for them to find that kill. Instead, though, it is an easy pickup for Sodos out of the mid lane. Did have to commit the Taiko drums, but who cares? Not me, certainly. Angry, in a little bit of trouble here. Cleanses himself out of the root. Does not eat the abduct from Rotwin, so gets to maintain some semblance of safety inside of his Tier 1 mid tower. And Gore, I think we get an opportunity now for you to teach me something. Name one Jodcon Van Damme feature film. No, don't touch the keyboard. Get off the lap. Hey, you can. What? Did you really type it that fast?
Well, Dave looked it up yesterday.
What?
It's already in the history. There we go.
Yep.
Yeah, and the cache. Full Love. He was in that movie.
I don't even know what that is.
Never heard of it. Bloodsport.
Nope.
Kickboxer.
No.
What about Kickboxer Vengeance?
Yeah, actually. Cataclysm for Trickstank here is able to force the beads off of Sodos. Rotwin is going to eat the Death Scythe for him, and that should spell the end of this engagement. Just F6, again, maintaining their lives, but Elysium, again, able to force back Just F6 despite playing at a deficit. Maybe could open up the door to look towards this Gold Fury, but the pressure from Toddy GR in the lane does open up the door for Maskill to do exactly this. Isolate the king inside the jungle, who is barely able to escape thanks to the hovering death. And now Just F6 are the ones with the pressure headed towards gold.
Last time this felt like it was gifted to them. This time they earn it the old-fashioned way. Spudio tries to get the damage. You do not have much of a chance there, fighting up against Maskill and the rest of them. And so that is a good turnaround for Just F6. They get the Gold Fury, get the kill onto the opposing Hunter. And they make Trix Tank second guess his positioning as well. They're going to have a hefty lead now, 2,600. And of course the 1,000 experience lead that is in their favor as well. Things are getting a little rough for Elysium here, 15 minutes in.
Yeah, Elysium been struggling to keep their feet under them. It's been slow rotations, Just F6 leveraging their early game composition to do exactly that, play inside of the early. 15 minutes in, I'd argue that 2-ish thousand gold, closer to 3,000, not the biggest deal for Elysium. They've come back from worse here, but Just F6 are in a much better position in Game 2. We'll see what they can do with these timers, though. Toddy GR, if you fall here, that's pretty big.
Yeah, he's in a bad position. That's a huge chunk from adapting. Seems like he didn't even expect it. He was he was doing the fade away. But now he's going for the chase, the blink forward. The damage is there. One more auto does the trick. They get rid of Toddy. Just F6 answer back with the Pyromancer on the other side of the map, so kill for objective. And there's a grouping on the left of all things for Elysium. There's not much to pick up over there, except the purple buff as of right now. Soon enough there will be a red buff. There's a greater Scorpion. They're just going to do their best to invade this jungle and strip away what they can from Just F6.
Spudio is going to be able to knock out that Tier 1 tower on the left-hand side, and if Elysium decide to join him on the left, could even potentially look at this Tier 2 Greater Scorpion. A much safer call, and probably the right one. Spudio, though, will head back over and try and take out the permanent objective. Is spotted out by Maskill, and we get a look at the damage output that Spudio is bringing at this point. One level down on this jungler means that probably not willing to take the 1v1, but has got some decent power spikes to his name. Elysium, yet again, playing from behind, but you wouldn't be able to tell it based on the map state. They're trying to siege a Tier 2.
Yeah, they're doing the best they can, and maybe this is where their late game power spike comes in handy. Spudio takes half his HP, though. And Maskill is making sure to have a firm grip on the steering wheel. Up to the skies goes adapting.
Oh, it's Sodos.
And there is Toddy's damage. Sodos has the Taiko drums.
One,
just
two.
shy of connecting, just a little wide. Spudio still alive.
Great
a good
cleanse.
Geb shield and a great cleanse. A great Cataclysm. Make sure that they are able to get out alive. They play aggressively, you had mentioned, without the lead. And they still end up losing a Tier 1 tower. Adapting is actually behind the members of Just F6. They're going to re-engage right here and continue the onslaught. There is the res from Kepri. The Solar, the Scarab's Blessing keeps him alive a little bit longer. Tarum is going to continue looking for a kill. They lose adapting. They've lost Trickstank. Angry is doing everything in their power to keep Spudio alive. Toddy and Tarum are chasing each other around. Tarum gets the kill. They lose 3 for 2 with Elysium's aggressive position.
Tarum has to head back to base here and is successful in doing so. Unluckily for Elysium, there wasn't much to fight over on this left-hand side. Unluckily, the Tier 2 tower does survive with, I don't know, like 5 HP left to it. 1 auto attack ought to finish that up. Next time, they're able to rear their heads over there, but Just F6 can't fall back to the Gold Fury. Pyromancer's down already as well, so maybe this is as bad as it gets. A speed buff invade goes right for mass kill, and, well, adapting, well, you just can't be happy about that.
No, not at all. I mean, at this point, you know what, we were looking at a 7-2 last game around this time. Now he's sitting at 2-1. Definitely feels like it's been slowed down. A lot of damage is being traded, not a lot that is sticking over here on the right-hand side of the map. Angry making sure to heal things up. There's going to be the Cataclysm one more time onto Mass Kill, and he's going to walk away from that. Listimics might not be able to get away. There's Lord of the Afterlife, so they force the ult. Now Tier 1 tower in a little bit of trouble. Minion wave moves in. Trickstank, Tarum, Angry turn their attention to get a little bit of gold and a little bit of farm. Adapting's dancing in the jungle. You might even be able to find someone off guard. Ultimately, he's just going to go for some mid-camps. Farm is the name of the game, and like you said, despite playing at a deficit, Elysium are the ones dictating the pace of the fights.
Yeah, this is the most, or potentially one of the most disrespectful games I've seen. Elysium's like, all right, we lost the early. Well, I don't really care anymore. I'm just going to go in anyway.
What if we just don't lose?
Yeah, what if we just walk in? You guys clearly aren't pushing your lead, so we're going to try and push our deficit, and Elysium have done a good job closing up that gold gap up until this point. Now it's only about 2,000, cut nearly in half as Angry in some trouble in mid. Early Tycho drums from Sodos is just off the mark.
Yeah, just a little too short to be able to get the damage. Up, down from adapting, gets the execute. Rotwin had the Scarab's Blessing, but wasn't able to use it in time. Might be able to get it off if they feel in danger. Trickstank rolls in. Trickstank gets the knockback on one. Cataclysm on the 2 carries, and Sodos gets erased because of it. Tarum chases him down. They're under the Tier 2. Recognize there's a Tier 1. They back off of the fight because they're playing the map.
I mean, we knew Elysium's team fight was going to be better in the late game.
It's still kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's still surprising how much better it is, right? I mean, Just F6 are just on the back foot, and now Listimics has got a tall task ahead of him. Walk through Tarum, A, pretty difficult. B, try and steal this Fire Giant. That's hard, too.
That's a tall order. The Lord of the Afterlife is available. Listimics isn't going to have the opportunity to use it aggressively here. He is getting zoned out, taken down, half health right now for the Osiris, and the Fire Giant's just been completely leashed, so there's no opportunity for the steal. 20 minutes into this game, seems like the regrouping is going to be in mid as Elysium forego the FG. Maybe going for the Primal Fury here.
Well, that is a decent consolation prize, and that is exactly where they're headed. Just F6 are privy to this. They watched every single member of Elysium cross over to this left-hand side, so maybe we see a cheeky response on the opposite side of the map. Instead, nope, Tarum going to be looked at, and that's all the Tarum's going to be looked at. They thought about it for a second, and then they realized it's Tarum.
Hey man, that sure is Tarum over there, and they're like, yep, and that's about all they could do. They get aggressive, Angry takes a lot of damage, but that is just good healing, good shielding, and good control. But Trickstank is low, Tycho drums, finally able to find something this time around. They get rid of Trickstank, and they slow down the Geb. Cataclysm unused that engagement, and now Tarum, Angry, having to run away. The healing can only do so much for the King Arthur, and they're chasing him under the Phoenix. They want this kill more than they want anything, but they're not going to be able to find it. The Phoenix is going to turn them around. Spudio sees all 5 members right there of Just F6 and decides, you know, against all of their other judgments, yeah, maybe they shouldn't go in. And they're going to play this patiently. Seems like it should be a beeline to the FG. Just F6 are laying in the jungle.
Yeah, 10 seconds left on Geb. Just F6 realized that they can't just do the Fire Giant, but they set their ambush up in the wrong spot. Adapting at Spudio, well, they're behind you. Oh, maybe not.
Well,
okay.
Aggression Angry just gets erased, but Spudio in the backline finds one in return. Up and down for Adapting, finds 2, finds 3 as they just start erasing Just F6 off the map. Rotwin's going to be number 4, triple kill for Adapting, and they turn that fight heavily in favor of Elysium. Still losing their healer, but they're on the prowl for more. Spudio, Trickstank seem to be calling FG. Adapting wants a little bit of blood.
Yeah, I think that play from Just F6 could have just been walk to the Pyromancer instead of get 4-man wiped inside of the jungle. So now Elysium, who have been playing with a fake lead the entire game. And when I say that, they've been behind the entire game, playing as if they have a lead, finally have themselves an actual lead.
Using the Leviathans lead.
Yeah, this is now 3,000 gold up. Fire Giant on 4. Could have waited 5 seconds for Angry, but why would you? Yeah, Elysium, they're in a good spot, man. This is a good place to be.
Look, if there's anything that Angry needs, is it really more healing and mana sustain? Come on. Well, calm
No,
down.
that guy's got plenty, bro.
He's got plenty
It's built
as
into
of
the
right
kit.
now. And they, of course, want the Fire Giant as soon as they can. 12 to 11 read the kills, but you wouldn't really understand it with the way the last few fights have been going. Much more overwhelming in favor of Elysium. They get the Pyromancer as they back away on the right-hand side. Spend some gold here for the boys in blue. And then they can continue getting aggressive, either in mid, knock down the tier 2, or 2 exposed Phoenixes make things easy for them.
It does, and their siege is still incredibly strong. You've got Uul, who's gotten a buff inherently to his kit, and now has additional attack speed inside of that bow stand. So with this penetration build, still going to slam these objectives pretty hard and pretty often. And then you've got the sustain of Fire Giant, the sustain of Hell, the survivability of a Geb, and Terror Rim to create space. Whereas on the other side, Just F6 have got a fair deal of aggressive picks, aggressive melee gods, Lastimics and Masskill, going to struggle mightily to find value in a team fight in a true 5-on-5 engagement. So it's more so up to Sodos and Toddy to start carrying some of that weight. No matter what point of the game, no matter how far behind you are, this Khepri is always going to have Scarab's Blessing, so he's always going to be relevant inside of the team fight. But got to think that Elysium are pretty comfortable in the positioning as it stands, and it will be a 4-man grouping on the left-hand side with Adapting acting as the sole mid-lane pusher here. And that's the damage output that you can look forward to from Just F6. Abduct on a Trix tank, and, well, Trix tank's full HP.
Yeah, Rotwin is in a position where you might have to use that Scarab Blessing
Three-man
on yourself. 3-man Cataclysm, get some beads on the other side. They stay alive. That Phoenix is falling pretty quickly. Not going to end up getting taken down here. There's the
Trix.
Tycho drums and the
Okay.
damage. Trix tank once again burned down. Last time this happened, there was a good turnaround for Elysium. They seem to be completely turntail and run. Masskill takes a lot of damage. Terram's in the middle, up into the sky, goes Adapting, looking for the execute, but the heal is going to be too good from the 9 turns blessing. Masskill stays alive, but Sodos does nothing of the like. Taken down.
Use your ult,
thanks to
Rotwin.
the crash down there, chasing him away. Rotwin still hasn't used it. Finally drops it onto Toddy. Toddy gets the res, but is he going to sustain afterward? The answer is no. Surrender vote gets started. Spudio wipes the floor with everyone that's left standing. Phoenix goes down, and Elysium take game 2.
Yeah, Elysium won with confidence and confidence alone, man. I mean, the entirety of the early game just down way too much gold to be making the plays that they were, and they did it anyway, and it looked good.
And that's about all she wrote for them. 2-0. They maintain and even further themselves as the first seed team here in Europe, and of course make themselves look really good. And like you said, it's all confidence at the end of the day. They were down in gold, they were down in builds, they were down in kills, and they just stepped up to the plate and played it like it was nothing. We're going to break that game down and then move forward to the SBL right after this.
The minute that I saw you, I was gone. Ringing from my head into my bones. Baby, got me feeling like a toast. Damn, it's sunny, should've brought less clothes. I could've had you one last time, take it off my mind. What
Welcome back, everyone. That's right, Elysium with the 2-0 victory seal themselves as the #1 team here in Europe. Although they were mostly sealed, now they get the guaranteed 9-1, only dropping a single set so far this phase. And you know what, Mifflin? This game, they look, game 1, they not just play with confidence, they win with confidence. They had it. In game 2, it was only the confidence, though. In game 1, they at least had like the gold lead, the kill lead, the fights were going their way. This one, they just kind of played up to and called the bluff of just F6.
Hey, you guys might have a lead, but you don't know how to play with it, says Elysium, and I guess they were just right. I mean, we could say they were just playing with confidence. If this were like a little bit higher stakes, we might say they won by sheer power of will. It might have been mechanical play. It might have been a little bit of jungle diff.
They had
might have been a lot of things. Could have been legitimately. I mean, I think the only concern is that just F6 pulled themselves a lead and didn't use it. And Elysium said, "Okay, maybe we use it."
There was that moment where Just F6, I think it was right around the mid-tier 2, mid-Phoenix, they win a pretty big fight, or at least it feels like a big win, that didn't immediately go for the Fire Giant.
No, they stood in the jungle and then got pincered.
Yeah. That definitely
it's right here. This is it.
This is the part where I think the game is lost, ultimately, for Just F6. I think if they are on the Fire Giant, maybe you lose a Fire Giant fight, but at least it's in the Fire Giant and not in Elysium's jungle.
Yeah, or you would have just, at least been in like a neutral territory. You probably don't lose the fight as hard because it's a lot easier to spot the people coming towards you. I mean, they even had eyes on the ADC and the jungler there. I mean, Just F6 knew exactly where Adapting was routing, and they like forgot about it. They were watching him path through mid. He went up to the bottom right-hand side of mid camps and just got behind him.
I distinctly remember at one point saying, well, Adapting's at 2-1 and like 3 or something, hasn't done as much here so far as we saw in game 1. He ends it at 7-1 and 8, does even more than he did, I think, in game 1.
Hey, not bad.
Not necessarily in terms of the damage, but sometimes you don't need it. He got all the kills that were necessary and used that execute to his benefit. There we go.
Advantage.
We can look at it. Advantage is the right one. My brain completely blanked on that one. They end at 9-1. Joystick right behind them at 8-2. Good Night Nick at 6-4. Those are going to be the 3 teams that guarantee go to the circuit playoffs. Pandemonium is going to have to play a wild card up against the top SOC team to see who will make it between them and whatever team that ends up being. So there's a good chance we might not see any more Pandemonium. There's also a chance that we see Pandemonium in a couple of weeks. We'll see exactly how they can handle what is Elysium, Joystick, and Goodnight Nick. What is worth mentioning, I think, in my mind, is that in the Phase 1 playoffs, I know we saw a lot of the top teams get eliminated early on or struggle a little bit more, and so I have a lot of high hopes for what we're going to see in a couple weeks.
Yeah, some of these SOC teams, legitimately, they've been grinding a lot. They've really been setting themselves up. They are incredibly potent squads out there inside of the SOC, so by no means is Pandemonium's path going to be easy going forward, trying to make his way towards the playoffs.
We have the European bracket ready. If you want to take a peek, see at what teams are going to be playing whom over here. Elysium Pandemonium will be the first matchup, Joystick and Goodnight Nick. And it is double elim, so you always have a chance to make a run back. If you lose one, you can make a run through the bottom bracket, which we have seen a few times. I think it was actually an NA. We had some weird DQ, like the first seed team didn't show up for their first match.
Yeah, they didn't show up,
and then they just ran through the lower
Yep.
bracket. And so you never know. Maybe Elysium ends up getting like upset at the very beginning and making a run through the lower bracket.
Adapting sleeps through game 1.
Or somebody else can make a run through there. It's going to make things interesting in Europe as you get to see those top teams play each other.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. And any singular time where the games have a little bit more stakes to them, where these players really have to bring out all the stops, where the competitive is at its peak, obviously makes for the best viewing experience. And when the viewing experience is good, the casters are happy, everybody at home is happy, and I'm like sometimes one of those and sometimes the other.
And you know what? But always 100% of one or the other. So you're always there or something like that. They add together to be 100%.
I'm like Batman.
North American bracket, yeah. Sometimes you're Bruce Wayne, sometimes you're Batman. But secretly, he's always Batman. Bruce Wayne is the mask. Winter Dogs take on Sleekness. Herculean Hoofs take on the Sturdy Artisans in North America. That's going to be some really sick matchups in NA. Again, double elim. And you have to look at it. You see not just the quarterfinals and then losers round 1, semifinals, losers round 2, but the teams that make it to the finals are going to be the most important ones to keep your mind on, because not only do they potentially get the bragging rights and I think cash prizing that comes from winning the tournament if they get first, but if you get first first or second, both in Europe and in North America, you get a trip straight forward to the SWC placement rounds, where you will be put up against the 3rd through 8th SPL teams in a bracket to fight for the right to go to the SWC itself. So it's going to be very, very complicated. Of course, now that we know some of the SCC teams that are going to go there, we do still need to determine SPL teams that are going to go there. We're getting near the end, just a few days left of this round robin. 1 day left today. The Valkyries taking on the Warriors. A little bit later today in studio, though, the Leviathans will be taking on the Titans and make things very interesting on a Sunday, Mifflin.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Maybe a little bit more so for the Leviathans up against the other squad there. I mean, look, we all know the Valkyries maybe struggling a little bit inside of this season. I've been really diplomatic today. The Oni Warriors been on a bit of a resurgence as well, with now Neil Ma inside of Georgia, so keep your eyes on that second set. That's your little Mifflin tip there.
But also tune in at 1 p.m. to watch the first set, please.
Please.
But yes, no, 3 p.m. is going to be a good one in studio. A very, very fun day of SCC behind us, and then a great day of SPL ahead of us. At this point, I'm excited to watch because we're Mifflin.
Yep.
We're getting near the end of the round robin. We're about to be looking at group stages.
What?
We're about to be looking towards playoffs for circuits and for
snap.
SPL. Yeah, it's going to be sick. Also, group stages has best of 5 matchups for the SPL.
That's a lot.
That's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of Smite. Of course, that's all going to be coming up. First, we have to make it through this round robin stage. 1 p.m. We'll be back in just a little bit with the SPL.